Things I wish I knew about nutrition clients, Q&A edition. Welcome. My name is Charity. I'm a certified nutritionist and I'm a mental wellness advocate. So stay tuned, watch till the end, leave your comments, feedback in the comment section. Let's chat, let's interact. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on all my social media platforms. I really appreciate you guys so much. I've missed you. I know there were no episodes for the past 2 weeks, but there's a reason. I'll talk about this in another episode. So let's not talk too much. Let's just dive into the episode. I'm going to start with the first question. Are clients always ready to change? The answer is no. No clients is ever ready to change, especially adults. Kids, you can sway them, but when it comes to adults, behavior change is quite difficult. So you'll find a lot of adult clients sometimes prove difficult, but when you look at it from a logical point of view, sometimes they're just human. They experience fear, they feel overwhelmed with the information you're giving them. So you'll find that you might be talking, you might be sharing, but they're not really willing to change because all they know is what they grew up knowing. I eat a certain way because that is how I've been eating. Right now, being told, don't eat this. That's why I don't like that language of do not eat this, do not encourage them to or give them what they're supposed to eat, and refrain from always talking about nutrition in a negative light, because when they see that, they will not want to listen to you. And for me these days, I've learned not to classify my clients as being difficult. So just look at, maybe I'm giving too much information. What can I do about it? If it's too much information, how can I break it down into something that they can understand? The second question is, what do you do when a class does not follow what you're advising them? And this is the most common challenges I feel like most of the healthcare professionals are going through. You'll find that you're giving your client this well-researched, personalized intervention, but they are not following what you're telling them. So sometimes you might end up feeling like, I feel like a failure. Failure, insert that meme. I really love that meme. I usually just laugh. So you feel like a failure, and sometimes it's not even your fault. You shouldn't take that personally. You should learn to separate your emotions from your professional work. Yes, empathy really matters because it will help you be in the shoes of your clients, but approach them with your professional view. Be calm, because sometimes they can make you feel like you're inadequate, especially in this day and age. So you have to learn how to navigate that. The third question is, how do you handle clients who challenge your expertise? Especially at this day and age of TikTok, Google, you'll find a lot of well-known clients who know what nutrition is, who know what they're supposed to eat. So they end up schooling you. You can turn into a defense mode. Hi, why are you telling me? I went to school, I read all this. Why are you telling me? I already know, so don't tell me. You want to school them, so you want to prove a point to them. And once you take that approach, they will see that they have gotten to you, and you will look like you don't know what you're doing. So what I've learned is to just listen. You must learn to listen. Hear their concern. They might be valid. Maybe they went and they've seen whatever this person has done. Let's say like Dr. Bag. I never actually really know about this person here on YouTube, but from my interaction with different clients, I've gotten to know who Dr. Bag is. His methods and everything. There's some of the people it works for them. Just want to shed some light on that so that I actually watch nutrition related content. The moment he gives whatever he gives, and there's some people who follow and it works for them. And I have always come to understand everyone is different. So whatever might work for you might not work for the other person, and what works for you might not work for the other person. So instead of going defensive, learn to tell them you hear their concerns, and then try to explain to them in a calm voice, professional voice, evidence-based, and make them understand. And it's okay if they don't understand. That's why I talked about compatibility with your clients. If you find it's not compatible, then there's no point you forcing issues. That's one mistake you made earlier on. For me, it's giving too much information all at once. When I was just a newbie nutritionist, I was so excited. I had this information. So when a client comes to me, do this. Oh, this is diabetes. There are different types of diabetes. And then you look at the client. The client is looking at you like, what are you saying? What are you saying? I can't even hear you. I can't even understand you. But not because you're not perceptive at first, you'll not know if the client is getting what you're saying or not. Maybe they're not even understanding your language. So you really have to be perceptive. That's why at the Nutritionist Corner, we encourage you to be a full, all-rounded nutritionist who has both technical and soft skill and knowledge, so that you can know how to apply that knowledge when it comes to different conditions. Yeah. How do you manage emotional clients? Sometimes your nutrition session can turn into a therapy session. You just find this mother who is overwhelmed with 4 and 5 kids who are running around. She looks like she's really drained. Her emotional state is not okay. And that person is sent to your office for nutrition counseling. So you'll have to find ways to work around, because sometimes they can break down and start crying, and then you end up turning into a therapist. That's why I love working with therapists, counselors, mental health advocates, or mental health specialists, because I feel like food, when it comes to emotional eating and our mental health, are very key players. That's why I always say, when you do your assessment, do a thorough assessment. Sometimes even the problem is not even food related, it's what is affecting everything around the food. The person might be eating well, they know what they're supposed to do, but due to the emotional state or the environment, they're really not okay to do what you're supposed to do. So you have to be really open-minded when it comes to counseling. Be open when you see a client crying, because I'm an empath. I might end up crying with them. So I've been learning how to manage my emotions when it comes to that. But it's really, really been a fun time when you're interacting with different walks of life, coming with different problems, and then you see how nutrition plays a role in all that. Yeah, so you really need to learn such words like thank you for trusting me, thank you for letting me know, I understand. Like, you really need to master these communication keywords. Yeah. So what surprised you most about working with clients? For me, I feel like how intimate our session can get. I'm not saying intimate in a bad way. Yeah, like when someone is opening up to you, they're telling you about their life, they're taking you through their day, they're taking you through their month, they're telling you about intimate things, and they stay there, you're like, this is not what I bargained for, but I'm curious, so I really want to know more. So you end up sometimes creating long-lasting friendships with your clients. Sometimes you meet them out there and they're like, you know what, I remember you, any Daktari wa Chakula ulinisaidia when I had that problem. They like calling us Daktari wa Chakula. So it really shows how nutrition plays a role. That's why I never deterred, even with all the negativity. I've never given up or deterred from practicing nutrition, because I believe nutrition can sometimes surprise you. Yeah, it can. So I feel like for me, the connection, the resilience I've gotten from it, the insights, it sparked my interest in studying psychology as my second degree. It really puts everything in perspective sometimes. Yeah. So how do you protect your energy? This is very, very important, because of all the questions I've answered. You'll find that you'll be giving more than what you're receiving. And sometimes when you give from an empty well, you're not going to do your best. Sometimes they can overwhelm you, especially if you work in the hospital setting. I remember in the pediatric ward, I remember in the burns unit, in the ICU, in the medical ward, when people are just, you come in the morning, in the evening you go, the patient is already dead. So you've already formed a connection. Cancer, end stage cancer, like someone on palliative care, it really took a toll on me. So I really learned ways to protect my energy, to detach from the hospital work, the client work, and my personal time. I've really learned how to safeguard my emotions. That's why I always say safeguarding your mental health. That's why this is also a mental space. Yeah. So those were just the 7 questions I had for today. I do want this episode to be long, because editing is proving to be quite a challenge for me. I'm doing too much. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have any more questions, any more answers to some of the questions I asked, leave them in the comment section. Let me know, you as nutritionist, how do you tackle your nutrition clients? Let's talk. I want this to be an interactive episode because it's in your niche, in your area. You're counseling a client and they do this. How do you handle this? How do you do this? I really want to know. So leave them in the comment section. Thank you so much for staying to the end. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you guys. Yeah. So don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on all my social media platforms. Yes. And until next time, I've been yours. Bye.